What up, Unruffled listeners? It's Fridge, your host for the HenHouse Unruffled podcast, and today we're going to be listening to some live recordings from the Freshtival 2022. I was so lucky to be able to sit down with some incredible artists from our Art of Freshness gallery at the Freshtival, and we were able to talk all about the art that inspires, the art that they hope to create, and the art that they have already created. Now, that being said, the audio quality is probably going to be a little different here because we were at a live event, so there will be some background noise to contend with. I hope you enjoy. Without further ado, let's get it going.
Welcome to HenHouse Unruffled, an audio companion to the beers of HenHouse Brewing Company. Each episode will take a deeper dive into each beer's concept, recipe, can art, sensory, and more with your hen host, Fridge.
What up? All right, how's everybody doing?
Hello.
Freshtival 2022, what's up? All right, we're about to get a live podcast started over here. If you don't subscribe to Unruffled already, please do.
There's a little QR code right here if you feel like just clicking on it, scan it, it'll take you right there.
Thank you, Josh. Thanks for the assist. What is up, Unruffled family and live studio audience?
Yay, that's when you clap. And you
That's
go,
right.
That sounds good.
Oh, there it is. My name's Fridge. I am the host of Unruffled, and I am super stoked to be here with my main man, Nicky London, who is a veteran beer label procurer, someone who makes beer labels. Actually, everyone at this table makes incredible beer labels. We also have Blanca Molina, who has made some of my absolutely favorite HenHouse labels of all time. Sorry, Josh.
No, I agree.
I've hired her, so
Yeah.
yes. I mean, when you know, you know.
All right.
Thank you.
So we got Nicky London, we got Blanca Molina, and we have Mr. JJ Stapes himself, the art director of HenHouse Brewing Company. Thank you for listening to us today. We're super stoked to get this live podcast rolling. This is the Art of Freshness panel.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've done anything like this in a live scenario, and the first time we've had more artists in this gallery. We did the Freshtival in 2019, and it was kind of just HenHouse art on display, which was, we've got this time almost 90 breweries, so we don't want to exclude other breweries from the magic. So there's a lot of great artists here today who've done labels for many local breweries, including HenHouse Brewing Company, so it's awesome to see them all in one place.
It is an amazing thing. I am super stoked at the amount of talent that is in this room, and I'm also really stoked on the air conditioning. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, this is probably the best part of this room for me, as someone who's been running around since
I was
9
saying
o'clock.
they like to keep the freaks inside. So
Keep the
that's
freaks
what we want to be.
Yeah.
We burn in the sun. Vampires.
So I'd like to go down the table and just have you all introduce yourself to the lovely listeners. Mr. London.
Hello, listeners. My name is Nicky London. I am one of the original employees of HenHouse Brewing Company, joined by literally my mentor, Josh Staples, who's got me through the craziest stupid design stuff that I've had to relearn. And, I truly cherish Josh Staples. I don't know, I tell you this, but so fortunate to have you there in my corner.
It's my pleasure.
I do design labels for Cooperage Brewing Company mainly, so most of them. Blanca has also done one, and our dear friend MJ Lindo. But besides that, I've done most of them. Pond Farm Brewing Company, Fog Belt Brewing Company, Moonlight Brewing Company, and Crowns and Hops Brewing Company in Los Angeles, who are all joining us today at the Freshtival. So I mean, it's been very fortunate to be in the beer industry and the bar industry. That's really driven like my career as a graphic designer. I'm extremely fortunate to be surrounded by peers like these folks here. Humble and grateful is the two words I would choose about my career right now.
Hell
You're doing
yeah.
great. You're killing it, Nicky.
Thank you, Nicky.
Thank you.
How about you, Blanca?
So my name is Blanca Molina, and I'm a graphic designer and artist, and I've done beer labels for HenHouse, and I've also done Cooperage and Crown and Hops. And I also work full-time as a graphic designer for a company called Don Sebastiani and Sons, and I mostly do like labels for margaritas and that kind of fun stuff too. And also, aside from that, I also love to do art, and most of my art is focused on like making people happy, I guess, and kind of having like a Latino spin to all of them. So yeah, that's what I enjoy doing.
And she's absolutely freaking good at it.
Amazing talent at this table right now. Mr. JJ Sips, you want to give the listeners a refresher on your history as well?
Sure. I have been with HenHouse Brewing Company since around 2010 when they needed a logo for the company in the beginning, a ground zero essentially, where the brewery started. And so I created the logo for HenHouse and eventually started doing things like the first ever 3 Saison, Golden, and Oyster Stout labels. So I've been involved from the ground up. And it's only been the last, 4 years or so that the label quantity is out of control. So I've had, luckily enough, Blanca Molina to call on about every month and a half or so to help with labels. But we've done hundreds of brands at HenHouse, and most of those have been things that I've had to draw on paper. But it kind of gets out of hand. So I have people like Nicky and Blanca to call on. I've been with the HenHouse Brewing Company since 2012 for the logos on staff, and Nicky and I got hired in the tasting room when we both got on the books in 2016.
Yep.
Woo. One of the OGs, the four henchmen of the Cluckopolis. Yeah, there it is. Bob's out there working hard right now at the HenHouse tent.
Yeah,
we used to. I remember one of my favorite memories is when we all got hired. We would do beer sensory training with Shane, owner, connoisseur.
COO.
Yeah, COO, and we would we did our beer training on a card table in a parking lot space because the bar wasn't even built yet. We were just sitting.
Yeah, we're sitting out by the roll-up door at the brewery, tasting gross beer and determining what flavors were off flavors. So we were drinking, things that are delicious beers to me, but you take a beer like a Rolling Rock, for instance, and you determine what makes that canned corn Rolling Rock flavor.
Right. Yeah, that DMS.
That amazing off flavor that makes Rolling Rock taste like popcorn.
Which is crazy because they kept that recipe and they knew it had off flavors. But they're like, people like this beer, so we're just going to keep this thing freaking rolling.
They figured out a way to get that off flavor part of the recipe.
Sometimes a bit of off flavor is a good flavor, depending on the brand.
Sometimes it's on flavor.
I like my Saison slightly
off flavor is an on flavor. I like that.
Yeah.
As you were saying, Josh, it takes a village to make all this work, and I'm super stoked to be in the company of such amazing artists. I also have an amazing artist that I get to go home to every night, Ashay Art, and she is here today. I'm really happy to have everyone in this room right now. There's some incredible stuff here for the taking and the experiencing. One thing I'd like to do is maybe go through and talk about what inspires you all as artists. What got you into design in the first place? You want to take that, Nicky?
I know that the original reason why I kind of started picking up Photoshop and stuff, and this was probably in like early 2000s when I started learning how to do it, was I just like Mr. Stapes here, I was a musician back in the day. I'm not currently, but back then we were like, having to do flyers and like merchandise and stuff. So I was like and I've always done art since I was a child. I wanted to be a Disney Imagineer, like as a child. That was like my dream. And now 2D is just not relevant anymore, unfortunately, for certain formats. I was self-taught. I was just passionate about music, and what inspires me artistically is, at the end of the day, our job is to engage with people and make them pick up that product in their hand. And so, if I can do that, even if they don't buy the product, if I can get somebody to interact with something that I created as a designer, we kind of did our job.
Absolutely, that's a big win to connect to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
In that way.
Yeah.
I've heard that we're kind of living in the era of the video store for beer right now. You see a label, right? And that's what I used to work in a video store for 5 years, but. Yeah, I remember the shiny labels at the video store really brought people in.
I don't know if I'm speaking for myself, but maybe you too, or you guys, but I absolutely pick up a product because I'm like, ooh, that looks sick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to eat that or drink that, but that looks freaking tight.
Yeah. So, you're going to engage
I was like,
with
well
it.
done.
I love it.
No, I remember when I was, the first time Almanac, who are here today, I left a store. I left the Beer Craft over in Runner Park. realizing I just spent $20+ on a bottle of beer because it looked
They're so
good.
beautiful. The screen
And
printing
it was like a
just
fennel IPA or something. I'm like, wow.
Fennel.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It was, it was when they were still a
There's some sexy
nomadic
bottles
brewery.
for sure.
That's
Oh,
like
man.
my secret ingredient when I'm cooking. That's besides the point. But Blanca, what inspires you as an artist? What drew you to design?
So I've always enjoyed doing art since I was a kid. But growing up, I was kind of discouraged when I was in high school. So, because they were like, how can you make money as an artist? So I was like, I need to figure something out. And one thing that I was pretty good at was math. So I decided to pursue an engineering career.
Really?
Yeah. And but yeah, that didn't go very well. And I was in the search of finding something else. And then I heard a friend say that he was doing graphic design, and that got me really curious. So I started searching that career, and that's how it all started. And ever since then, I've always kind of been through the graphic design path. And yeah, same here. I always pick up labels based on the designs. My boyfriend gets so mad at me because I'll be like, oh, look at this really cool label. He's like, yeah, but that beer doesn't taste very good. I'm like, oh, well, I don't care.
I feel
Throwing
like
some major shade over here.
Well, I feel like as graphic designers, when you're out there in the world, you are for me, constantly looking for different substrates and processes that are being done out there to kind of stay current, or be like, oh, I didn't know you could do neon green metallic. That's cool. Mm-hmm. And you kind of put it in your arsenal of cool, I have that to offer to my clients in the future. And obviously the substrates and the materials are changing so much now that you do have to kind of be out in the world and notice those things and do your research to stay on top of the new shit that is out, to be relevant and current.
Yeah.
Once you see what's possible,
And also, that's so dope that you're an engineer, because some graphic designers, when they're doing their programs, they're looking at numbers and formulas,
Yeah.
shortcuts and stuff. And
I think engineering is a lot of problem solving, and I think graphic design we're solving a creative problem. So it's it's continuously problem solving. So I think that kind of gained that skill from math.
A pretty constrained art form. If you're working on a 8 by 5-inch format, and you realize that only 3 inches of that is visible at any given time, you have to make each one of the, it automatically is broken up into almost 3 panels.
Yeah.
This is the information panel, this
Shout
is
out
the
to
front.
Josh. He gave me his template, so I know what those panels are.
I think that it's important to share those types of things for sure. Because the tricky thing, you don't want to see beer labels in the world that are wonk. You want to be able to help everybody you want everyone to be professional. I'm not trying to, hoard those types of ideas and those formats. I think that's important to give to people. And I've done it with a lot of different designers, having done this a bunch and having worked out the kinks early on, okay, well, if we do, it was a while they were going to do, we're going to do a paper label, it's going to have metallic on it. And after a while, we're like, wait a minute, why don't we just do a metallic label and block out everything that's not there? Because every time you change materials, it gets more expensive. We realize if we do everything on a shiny label, all of a sudden everything is sparkly.
Totally.
And the printer has to deal with it. They can buy all your material at once. It gets to be, I like those constraints. And it lets you you can kind of determine what's going to be the front-facing part of this label, what's going to be the other side, and trying to find a way for labels, because most of these breweries are doing labels, not printed cans. How do you make that seam go away at the back end, So we've been working on those types of fun things at HenHouse too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that type of mentality is very much in the spirit of HenHouse Brewing Company, being an open source brewery where you can literally look at any of our recipes.
Yeah.
You are offering up knowledge to people like Nicky.
Absolutely.
And helping lift each other up, building on each other's talents. We all have something to teach. We all have something to learn,
For sure.
I think art is a form of art. I think art is something that should be shared, because at the end of the day, it all started with ink and paper, or whatever, caves and sticks, whatever. But it's as we learn different processes, we're all kind of vibing off one another, and we're all it's all an evolution of just art at one. And I've always been I just want all artists to win. There's plenty of art to go around in the world.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, I've been really grateful for Josh. Josh has been a mentor of mine since 2016, sharing templates and processes and proofing some of my stuff and finding stuff, because I swear to God, I'm the most dyslexic graphic designer in the world. Thank God I have proofreaders. But so I mean, it's it's really important to share that information, I believe.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Definitely.
So, Josh, what drew you to design in the first place? Were you doing anything like this before HenHouse?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been doing design for, since the early 90s, maybe late 80s, actually. I was doing same thing that Nicky was doing, like flyers.
Josh is old,
and, yeah.
but he looks wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
He looks great.
But doing, like, as a teenager, doing, like, show posters and album covers and that kind of stuff. But since before that, just drawing, and I always had a kind of like a very goofy, like I wanted something to look like a magazine cover or something like that. So it would be fake magazine covers and fake TV shows on scrolls in a box and that kind of stuff. So I was drawing forever and never truly, like, if you told me when I was like 11 or 12 that I'd be listening to records and drawing on paper as a grown man making money out of it. I skipped a huge part of that my whole life. I was like, there's no way to make money doing that. So I'm going to go on, and I worked at a Kinko's for 10 years, and because I did that, I learned how to use Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop and those kinds of things. And because of also mentors in those departments, we're like, you can do what you're trying to do a lot easier without having to like take a Sharpie and paste out those lines and stuff. So thankfully, I did a lot of production art early on. And then eventually I got a job at a t-shirt place who really valued hand-drawn things. Like we would take the Instagram logo and just trace it and make it look shitty. And that would be their t-shirt.
That'd be a challenge, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just take it and just like make it really sketchy. And there's value in that hand-tooled thing, which is now very emulatable, and like as you guys have shown.
Yeah, but like to your point though, like you're one of the only artists that I know, and I respect it because like I'm able to fall back on like working with like Procreate and like iPads and digital art, and you still hand draw everything.
It's crazy.
And bring it in and
awesome.
scan it in. Like, you still do it how it used to be done.
It's a huge waste of time, Nicky. It's such a huge time suck.
Bro, I have no idea how much patience you have, because that would drive me nuts. I can literally erase something in the click of two fingers.
Oh,
and
sounds so nice.
I need that. I need that crutch.
Yeah, I think I need that too.
For you to be able to do it that way, that's like one of the biggest. I was like, yeah, he does everything by hand. And they're like, what? And I'm like, literally, by hand.
Well,
Like an old guy drawing guy.
yeah, I think that's the time I can like get away from a screen. Essentially, I can kind of sit at the
Yeah,
counter
true.
and like just sit there and draw it, and
Yeah.
and that's very like meditative and relaxing.
Yeah.
So that's the part of the job. It's a very different part of the job, because the other part is making sure everything is going to print right, making sure that everyone's communicated how many labels are going where, and all the
Right.
coordination stuff. I enjoy it, but it's not the fun part.
That's
Right.
that's the kind of nitty gritty about
Yeah.
our job. Is like we have to do the art, and then we have to also send the orders out and the quantities out and
Logistics.
and like
Yeah, you have to
literally the
send it to-
logistics of graphic design. Like
It's got the last couple of years. I've been sending every label out to like 10 people, one in every HenHouse department, to be like, check everything. And
How
now
does it look?
Look over everything, because I don't want another last minute
and
ABV
it's amazing
change.
how like you can have like 3 or 4 people miss the same thing.
Oh yeah,
and you're
then
like,
I'll catch it right before it
I've
goes
had
out.
that
Yeah.
proofed by like 4 people, and we all missed it somehow.
Yeah, it happens.
It's natural. People are looking for just what they're.
Yeah.
That's why I send it to every department. So
Yeah.
people are looking for make sure the hops are right, make sure everything else is right.
Oh, that makes sense.
They're not looking at the UPC code. They're not looking at other
Yeah.
things. The name of the beer, even, for
Yeah.
instance. So it really does take a massive team to get every one of these things done. But I am lucky enough to have. I mean, Nicky, you've done labels for HenHouse too, and Blanca's done the one that we just did together. It's our 13th design together. So.
Right.
So next year's HenHouse calendar, which we do every year, is going to be all Blanca Molina labels. It's gonna be
Hell yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Wait, was that the street side collab, that last one?
Now the last one was a Ruse collab that they just brewed yesterday.
Oh, the
Called-
strawberry.
it's a strawberry-
Yeah, the strawberry goza that's coming.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
facility.
That's a
You heard it
strawberry,
here first, folks. We're doing a strawberry goza with Ruse.
a strawberry basil goza with
We're
Ruse.
throwing
Matt
basil in there,
Joseph
too?
came in for the tasting room. I was bartending last night. And he was like, "Man, we did a strawberry." I was like, "What?" I was like, "That
Yeah.
sounds very delightful."
And it's
It
called.
sounds amazing.
It's got the ins and
Yeah.
outs of it too. Like Sayer, our marketing manager, had a great name for it, which is there's a song that's originated here in Sonoma County called "Strawberry Letter 23" by Shuggy Otis, and the beer is called Letter 24.
Oh, nice.
It's really cool.
You know, you talk a little bit about the environment that we're in. I mean, there are so many incredible artists in Sonoma County, and I was just thinking about how you were learning Photoshop. You know, what, 10 years ago, 15
I
years
think I
ago?
was relearning Photoshop 2 when that sucker came out in
Yeah,
like
like
93.
one of the OG
Yeah.
Photoshops.
Yeah.
And
Aldous.
I was lucky enough to go film a promo for our Donut Day extravaganza at the same place that Photoshop was coded in.
Whoa.
And that's not too far from here. That's like right
Right.
before the Richmond Bridge. And not only was Photoshop coded there, the THX noise was recorded there. They
Whoa.
like created the Velociraptor, like Indiana Jones memorabilia was all over the place. It was wild. I was like geeking out big time. But to like learn that actually like Photoshop was created not but like 45 miles from here.
It's pretty nuts, huh?
That's pretty
had
wild.
No idea.
Yeah, it's
That is
insane.
so dope.
I mean, of course,
Like,
California
I
as a
probably
whole.
like
Silicon Valley. you
took
know.
a leak right where George Lucas took a leak at one point.
Wow.
It was pretty
God, I
incredible.
hope so.
I mean, there wasn't like a plaque, but there should have been.
It's like maybe there was
Yeah.
like a flower or like a weed that he grew with that.
Yeah.
And then you just continued the growth.
Yeah, I mean, I would happily water that plant. But something I always talk about is beer's kind of like the intersection of art and science in a glass, right? But it sounds like design as well. Designing these labels has those elements as well. Like you're talking about the engineering aspect of it, Blanca.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really, really cool. Not only is it like art on the label, on the outside of the vessel, but inside there is art made by the production staff of all these breweries making incredible stuff. I mean, cooking is a lot like art, and making beer is definitely scientific, but there is an aspect of inspiration and like, what's it called when you're like riffing, you know, like...
Improvisation.
Improvisation, exactly. And I just think it's a beautiful thing. Something I want to talk about with y'all is what is your favorite label that you ever created and why? And also, what are you working on right now?
Oh man.
These are big questions here.
I mean, I guess I'm gonna say my favorite label ever is Smeltron 3030 for Cooperage Brewing Company because that was my first one.
Smeltron 3030 is an incredible label. I fucking love that one.
I
agree.
do too, and
You can swear on Unruffled. It's okay.
I love that label. It was kind of my first experience. It took me like 4 times longer than my labels take me now because I was like learning just the flow of the program I was using. But I love sci-fi. It's got astronauts destroying like alien hot monsters. I was like, it's totally got my personalities all up in it. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorites. I mean, I did another one called Straight Murked. That was another Cooperage beer that's got the creature from the Black Lagoon holding up a gold chain with gold teeth, which actually Josh Stapes gave me some feedback on. I had some like title treatment that I was doing, and Josh was like, "Oh, you should do this," and I was like, "You're absolutely freaking right. I should do that." God, why wasn't I thinking about that?
Always listen to
But
JJ State.
yeah, so I mean, those are kind of my favorites. I kind of teeter-totter from 2 different styles of like more painterly versus more illustrative and cartoony. And
Nicky, those are beautiful labels, but I'm really sad that you didn't mention Captain Kurt because I love that label. I'm a huge Star Trek fan.
yes, yeah, the Kurt series is everyone loves the Kurt series because people like The Simpsons. So
yeah.
But yeah, the Kurt series is always fun because we get to take this character and try and make Charlie as most uncomfortable as possible by making labels, and it doesn't faze them.
So
but-
you've succeeded.
yeah. So I don't know. My favorite label is the next one I'm doing.
I like it. How about you, Blanca?
My favorite one was probably Early Birds.
love Early
the
Birds.
one I did with
Nice.
HenHouse, because I think that one really made me step out of my comfort zone and kind of play more. And wow, that label was just crazy.
It was a beautiful label.
Yeah, that one's my favorite. And you should see like my first round of designs. I'll probably show you guys later. But the dinosaur looked like a witch, and I remember showing my friends that. They're like, "What is wrong with you? Why does this dinosaur look like a witch?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, I need to play with it." So I played with it more, and it started coming together. And then, but yeah, that one was a ton of fun. My favorite one. And right now, what I'm working on, it's probably taking most of my time, and I'm doing a mural right now in Roseland.
A mural.
I saw
cool.
that.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
MJ and Josh.
Yeah,
right?
with MJ and Josh. Yeah. Yeah, so it's my first mural, and they're a lot of work.
Where is the mural going to be located, Blanca?
It's at Sazon Authentic Peruvian Restaurant. Yeah, out by Sebastopol Road.
Hell yeah.
I
Yeah,
love it.
It's exciting, but yeah, it's taking up a lot of my time.
I am terrified to do a mural.
I was
Absolutely terrified.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's
And
a
then,
lot
it's
of
worth it.
planning.
Are you working on anything now that you want to tell the folks about?
Like
Besides the mural, another beer label?
not at the moment. I think the most recent one I did was with Josh, which is letter 24.
Nice.
Yeah.
Blanca's done 2 labels that haven't yet come out. So there's the Ales for ALS, which comes out very soon. I think we just brewed it. And letter 24 is a couple weeks from now.
Very nice. What about you, Josh?
I want to say one thing before I talk about. Thank you, Annalisa. This is very
Annalisa,
kind.
What a
the
hero.
beer fairy has just
Wow.
shown
Oh my
off
gosh.
us a delicious
Annalisa
beverage.
Gergout, love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, folks. Don't mind us. We're just sipping this
Beer break.
Man, yeah. There's like a
Which I
full
haven't had
30
because it
seconds
just came
of
out
quiet.
today.
We're just
Hey.
like drinking beer. Thank you, Annalisa.
Thank you. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to mention about when Blanca does a label for HenHouse, and probably for everybody else that she does labels for, is that you get a round of, here's 2 distinctly different ideas.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're lately, and certainly in the last, I'd say most of them have been like, they're both great. Now we have to choose one, and they're pretty much ready to go. And then we have the capability, and a lot of label companies will now print like many labels in sequence. So you can do like label A and label B.
Yeah.
And the last couple of times we've done with Blanca, we'll take them both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
charge us for both. We're going to use them both.
We hired her over at Cooperage. We had a beer that I wanted to do called El Cupacabra. I wanted to do a Mexican lager, and I wanted it to come out, near Cinco de Mayo or something. And I told Tyler, like, literally right away, I was like, I have the capability of doing this art. I was like, but I know exactly who I want to do this label. And I was like, he's like, yeah, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to hire this girl named Blanca. She just, I have a vision in my head. And I think I sent you like, kind of like a mood board.
A mood board, yeah, exactly.
Yep. And you, like, I emailed you a mood board, and she sent me 2 labels to Josh's point.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I sent them to Tyler. He's like, I don't fucking know. Like, they're so good. Both of them are so good. Like, I don't know. And we were like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is exactly what I expected. Like, like, you just have such a unique aesthetic to your art that is just very, like, standout-ish and very recognizable. And, like, it's nice to have a switch up in the style for the breweries.
Exactly.
You
Thank
know,
you. Yeah.
like, Josh has done the labels for so long, and then he's getting so busy. He was like contracting out other artists, and it's nice to have a little bit of a change up, so to speak. And like, God, your stuff's everywhere. Crowns and Hops. We both work for them,
Yes.
and it's just like that style. It's like Blanca. That's
Yeah,
and
your
it's
styles
got
are
your
the
name
same.
written
Yeah.
all over it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you haven't checked out Blanca.creative on Instagram, check it out, because your process is also, I love it. You'll do a quick little map of how something flipped and the symmetry
Oh, yeah,
of it.
like
and then-
little-
You're so good at like
little videos
capturing
and
that
stuff. Yeah.
process, and
Yeah.
you're starting to do motion graphics a little bit,
I do
right?
little motion graphics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, it's
I'm
impressive.
terrified of all that. I just want to like draw. Like,
Can
I'll just
we
show you my
tap
draw.
you for that for our social media? Because that would be awesome to get some motion
know.
graphics.
It's gonna cost you, bro.
She's so busy.
I'm sure we can
there's,
find the money
We're
somewhere.
not cheap, bro.
Pay your artists, people.
You pay for what you get.
100%.
But as far as my favorite label, I think when I started doing these HenHouse labels, I think Phantom Time was my favorite one. And it was years ago that we did that label.
That was the start of that.
It was the start of that kind of like so much drawing
That
and like so many
series of-
characters and
yeah.
like you do a pantheon of characters that have to do with this deep conspiracy. It's got Charlemagne, it's got Constantine in there, plus it's got that weird Herbert Early guy
yeah.
who came up with that theory, and then it's got a pope in there. There's all kinds of weird. It's got an
It
eclipse.
was nice to get that layout
Yeah.
too, because you were like, cool, it could translate over.
Totally, and it was a really fun one, and there was a lot of drawing involved, and I really enjoyed that because one thing I distinctly remember was like we're doing this on a silver background, so things that can pop. I'm gonna do another pass that's just a little white. So this is just,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are doing it
That's the
so
steps,
much faster.
yeah.
But the white plate has got a lot of the art involved too. So that's probably my favorite one that I've done, and I've done a bunch similar to that since. We did one that was about the Watergate scandal, and it's called Bebe Rebozo, which is a similar thing.
Mandela effect.
Mandela
What else?
Effect,
Trying to think
yeah,
what
the
else.
old Keanu label that doesn't exist.
Yep.
And is there another one?
I'm trying to.
Philadelphia Experiment.
Yeah, there it is.
Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like
I love Philly because
Thank
I like
you.
the pops of red.
You know what? Well, the interesting thing about Philly is I finished it in Philadelphia on tour. I was sitting at the club.
awesome.
I was sitting at a club called Kung Fu Necktie, and I remember a friend of mine named Derek who works in nearby. He lives in like a little bit western Pennsylvania. Brought a bunch of produce and fruit for us, and then he sat down. And I was like, "Hold, give me a minute. I'm finishing the touches on this label."
because you did add that pop of like. I mean, you have pop of color in the other ones, but I don't know. I just like the general because you always do. He always does like the circle with the main characters, and below it kind of changes a little bit. And
Yeah.
I did like the Philly with like the sailor like theme.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a bleak conspiracy.
Yeah.
I went and watched the Philadelphia Experiment movie.
I was the one that pitched that to Colin.
Oh, what's that?
The Philly Experiment.
Really? Oh, that was your
That
idea?
was your OG baby too?
That was my OG baby. Yeah. I was like, have you ever Philly Experiment? He was like, no. And I was like, hold your ass. We're going in. There
And
we
what
go.
became Mandela as well was another one of your babies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
Nicky's
to name
named a lot of
couple.
beers. Yeah.
It was fun. But the Mandela Effect was the first time I was like, Colin calls me and he was like, your name, your beer, what do you want to put in it? And I was like, he was like a phone call. I was like, I'm panicking. I'm like, I don't know. Citra, Centennial.
2 great hops.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
can't go wrong.
Centennial is my all-time favorite hop. It's old school. It's a super candied citrus peel, lemon peel. I mean, I can taste it in anything. And I was like, definitely that's going in there. And then I just kind of picked a crowd pleaser, Citra. But like, I always like thought about that, and I was like, oh, I would have done like Pacific Jade or like Motueka, because I love those New Zealand, like those like more strawberry kind of characteristic
big
ones.
time,
But
yeah.
honestly, Mandela that crushes, and people like it. It's hazy, but it's dry, which is the whole point.
Oh.
Adam put in like a
People go
Vienna
crazy for that
or
one.
a Pilsner malt to give it like this really dry kind of finish.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, if I were to go down the line, I love all the things you all create, but Captain Kirk for sure for Nicky. We Roll Together was one of my all-time favorite labels. I love
Thank
that
you.
from
It
you.
came out
Blanca.
really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you reroll?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
And
yeah.
then,
Well, that's the thing. You never saw the can of that label because
I finally
only.
did.
Okay,
I
good.
finally
You did see
did.
the label.
It didn't
It's
get
amazing.
canned
It's wonderful.
this
Yeah.
time. Yeah, it came out so good.
So dope. And Street Side's amazing. Cheesesteaks are dope too. Speaking of Philadelphia. But Josh, I just think that it's incredible that you created those 7 beer labels when we did the all-staff collab.
Oh my
I just
God.
thought that the like whole HenHouse photo was just like such a feat. That's when I was like, holy crap, Josh is incredible. When I first saw that.
That's nice. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I remember
Yeah.
like running into him. I was like, how's it going, bud? He's
was
like,
losing it.
oh, you know, just been up since 3 in the morning for the last 3 days, drawing my life away. And I was like, I freaking bet, dude. I was like, it looks so good, but god damn.
It did really come out really good. That's the thing.
And you
doing-
drew that in one panel, right? Like one, or did you kind
I
of
drew in a lot of
put them
different-
together?
Yeah, I drew it in a lot of different pages and pasted together. And I
Yeah.
remember I just put those pages into like I just got this hilarious binder. It's like a 3-ring binder, but it's 17 inches wide. It doesn't fit on any shelf. But I had like all these 11 by 17 drawings I'd done, and I was like, this is the stupidest thing. It sticks out of any bookshelf like this far.
Yeah.
But in that binder, I was looking at the drawings for that one particular set of labels. So in 2018, 2019.
Yeah, I think it was 2019. Yeah.
Each department
Beginning.
in HenHouse
The good
developed a
old
recipe,
times.
and they had their own beer, and we had to figure out a way to cohesively put those labels together. So we made it was 7 departments, so we had a 7-story building, and each one of those labels, if you took them off, you could stack them, and they would become the actual building.
That's why I assumed you kind of almost just drew it in essentially a large poster.
No, I feel
and
like-
then cropped them out.
Essentially, yeah. There was the little engineering involved because I was like, okay, the middle panel of 7 has got to be, the perspective is you see the ceiling, you see the floor. And then as you go on, beneath that, you only see the
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
And then it went into the basement, and the same with the top. So it was a good one. When we did the 2019 Freshtival here, I had a poster of it up on the wall that was massive, but I didn't bring any of that today because I was too busy. But
No worries. It's been a busy day.
Yes.
But thank you. That was a feat, and I remember like never again will we do 7 labels at once until we just did our 10th anniversary and we did 10
And then we
labels.
did 10. Yeah. But at least those didn't all come out on the same day,
No,
right?
thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least there was a template for those that we could just change the colors and have it be, yo, this gentleman's from
The
out of state.
multi-labels are interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to see us do another all-staff collab. I think that would be tight.
I think it's about time.
Yeah.
Guys. Yeah, I
But,
just did a multi-label for Pond Farm.
Oh, yeah.
Recently, and they're actually doing something really interesting, which I thought was cool. Is they're actually shrinking their labels from the standard 5, and they're kind of doing almost like 4 3/4, so it's shorter, and then they're die cutting out a little circle, so it
Oh,
almost looks like
interesting.
a stamped seal, which is interesting. But I can tell you, the registration is an utter nightmare to get them to like dial it in. So we've had some issues with that, but we finally got it pretty plugged in for the most part.
That's the
right?
thing. When you start going outside of the standard label size and format, you're getting risky with like
Yeah.
the execution.
Yeah,
And-
And the
exactly.
problem is they can dial it in, and then the next time it's not dialed in. They got to redial it in.
That's one thing I've enjoyed doing too. Is we've done it with Altamont a few times with the Hella Stoke labels. Is one brewery will do one label, and then HenHouse will do another. And if you take them apart, they will make one giant scene. We did another one with Pond Farm that was similar, which is probably one of my other favorites. Twice Across the Narrows, because they're in San Rafael.
Oh, that's a great beer.
And that was a delicious beer. And I like Pond Farm's version of it so much. It was great.
Yeah.
They're incredible. I love Pond Farm.
Shout out to Steph and Trevor. Those guys are awesome humans to work with, and they're crushing.
We're just surrounded with great beer, great artists. It's a wonderful place to live. But something else that I just thought of, maybe, we're talking about lifting each other up, There's amazing artists that we all know of beyond who we have at this table. Who's somebody that you think the listeners should check out? Who's another artist that you're inspired by?
Oh, man. That's such a loaded question because I'm inspired by so many people.
I know, same here.
I'll mention one because they're here today as well. I'll mention Jeff Overn, who's over here and has his table. He's done labels for HenHouse. Nearly all of our bottle labels were done by him. So he's done all of the Witchcraft and the Occult beers.
Yeah.
He did the Phantasma Fresca and the Umbo Phantasmo labels, as well as the Delicious Little Devil. He's done a ton of labels lately. He also does an amazing... He draws like a similar way. I mean, you guys got to give me some lessons. I need to get some iPad lessons.
I agree. I'm gonna second that. I mean, Jeff's a rad dude, and I love his art. I'm also like a horror nerd, as Josh is, so it's like, and it's in that niche. So I'm like, but
dude, some of the most insane, crazy labels I've ever seen on a beer. Like I was like, wow, HenHouse gonna go there? Like we're gonna do like seance, like sacrificing, like insane horror stuff. I'm here for it.
I also too thought that when I first saw the first bottle, I was like, we're doing this?
Yeah, we're going. Go. It's really good. Yeah. And like, someone asked me later, I go, what's that symbol mean? It's on the chicken's head. I'm like, I don't really know. Let me ask Jeff. He goes, oh, that's Lucifer.
Oh, it stands for Lucifer.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, great.
Lucifer, you say.
I was always really interested to see when we dropped out of series how many feathers we would ruffle, pun intended. But like,
feathers are
no one
ruffled.
Seems to care.
Nobody cares because they're like sour, barrel aged, sick. I'm gonna drink it regardless. Then like the nerdy art people that love that kind of stuff are like, I might drink it, but I kind of just want to keep the label on the bottle.
Yeah, there's really, so far, the Venn diagram of like craft beer lovers and full-on fundamentalist people who are upset easily by satanic imagery, not seeing the crossover.
It's a pretty thin crossover.
It's a very thin wedge, and
those circles are kissing. They're not overlapping very much.
Exactly.
Go us for taking a step to go push the envelope.
It's very important to get weird and make people realize that you're not afraid to, to ruffle a feather or two.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what art is all about. Actually.
Yeah, baby.
Hell yeah.
I'm always trying to ruffle feathers.
Unruffled. Here we are. Blanca, do you have anybody you want to elevate?
There's just so many artists, but like right now I'm really fascinated with Ricky Watts' style.
Oh yeah, Ricky Watts.
Totally.
Like that, I'm just like, wow. Like
He's doing spray paint. Is it?
It's all spray paint. Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe he gets those shapes.
If you don't know Ricky Watts and you've seen the Phoenix Theater mural on the outside, that's his. He's done a ton of stuff all over the world,
color,
actually.
The color, like
a lot of color play. It's just amazing.
I
think he did like a fog belt beer too.
Oh, we did. He did.
Yeah,
he did. I remember that. That was a couple years ago. Pipe Dream or something.
I think it's coming out again.
Yeah,
I heard. Yeah. So.
Shout out to Ricky Watts.
Yeah, he's great.
Local artist. Badass.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. If I were to elevate somebody, I gotta elevate my sweetheart, Ash Hay from Ash Hay Heart. Also, my home dog, Adam Springer. And my other home dog, Connor Alfaro. Love all these people.
Oh, for sure. Connor's out there screen printing shirts right now.
I am going to get myself some custom printed merch live at the Freshtival.
You should just ask him if they can custom print your body.
I'm down, honestly. I mean, it might blind some fools because I take this shirt off and it's like...
Well, you can have them custom print a t-shirt
bright white.
And then iron it, like heat warm it, and then it'll be attached to your body forever.
We got to do that negative space trick that Josh was talking about because this is shiny. This is metallic almost.
We got to do a reverse knockout on your body.
I'm going to go ahead and say they're not going to screen print your human body out there.
Yeah, reverse knockout these knockers for me, please. I've had an incredible time on this live podcast, y'all. I know I got to go pour some beer here in about 10 minutes. Is there anything else that we'd like to bring up in this panel?
Well, I'd like to definitely say thanks to all the artists that came today. They're all amazing artists that work within the beer industry. We have Al Noon, who just did the Cold Chaniacs beer over here.
Love their stuff.
Amazing.
Amazing.
We've got, like I mentioned, Jeff over here. We've got Forever Midnight, which is a podcast I do with my friend Brian over here, and Jeff, who does art for HenHouse as well, doing scary movie merch. And thank you, Blanca and Nicky, for both being here. Your stuff is outstanding.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Yeah, of course.
The love is large here at the Freshtival and in this Art of Freshness panel. I love everyone here. Super stoked. Definitely feeling the beers. It's starting to metabolize a little bit. But we love y'all. Cheers.
All right.
Thank you
Thank you
guys.
so much
Thank
for being
you.
here. Thanks for listening.
Also, you can cut this out if you'd like, but women should do whatever the fuck they want with their bodies.
100.
100%. Thank y'all.
Cheers, y'all.
Thank you.
HenHouse Unruffled was created by Anna Scott. We record at HenHouse Brewing Company's Palace of Barrels in Petaluma, California. Our producer is Brian Henderson, and our associate producers are Josh Staples and Fridge. The music you've been listening to was written and performed by our San Francisco account rep McLean from his album Speechless and Speechless 2, which you can find on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, and anywhere one finds dope music. If you have a question or comment about this or any episode of HenHouse Unruffled, please let us know by calling 707-347-9425 to leave a message. You can also send an email to podcast@henhousebrewing.com. For more information, visit www.henhousebrewing.com or stop by one of our Bay Area tasting rooms. The voice you've been listening to is Imani Russell Black. Please listen and drink responsibly.